Funkin' fans, nice guy community, welcome back, welcome back. I did promise a little bit of fuckery on Tuesdays and Thursday show, a unique style of fuckery, and let's introduce the style of fuckery right now.
Welcome to Women, Men, and Relationships.
Wow.
I'm JJ Flazanes.
And I am Doug Sandler. Hold on, is this a simulcast?
This is a simulcast
Of
Women, Men, and Relationships and
The Nice Guys on Business. This is kind of cool. I like this. This is a way how to kill two shows with one stone.
it's very efficient, and I'm all about efficiency.
So right now, Strickland is hightailing his way from Maryland to Austin, Texas. He has packed up the minivan, the family, and he is making his way down. Wednesday is Pick Up the Tesla Day, so you're listening to the Tuesday episode of The Nice Guys on Business right now, and the
Thursday episode of Women, Men, and Relationships.
Holy shit, this is going to be really confusing when it comes to editing. It's okay.
We're not. You know what? It doesn't matter. They're hearing it when they're hearing it. They don't need to keep it. And you know what? You're terrible at dates. So why do we even try? Because
I don't know.
As far as everyone's concerned, we should be on a cruise right now. Your whole community thinks that today we're on a cruise because you can't tell dates. So it's okay.
I
It's all
know.
good.
I'm not real good with the calendar. It's fine. Imagine being able to get 800 episodes into this podcast and still fuck things up really good.
Okay, you just don't have a memory. That's the problem. So the problem.
Listen, Elmer Fudd.
I'm gonna leave that. I'm totally gonna leave that in. The problem. The problem is that you don't have. Okay, all right.
So this is a complete this is a complete 180 from what Women, Men, and Relationships usually is.
Although I'm gonna reel it back in, guys. Don't worry.
Oh no! We hope you don't reel it in.
Yes, we. This was our agreement. We had a little fuckery with a little serious, and we discussed the topics ahead of time. We do not have a wheel. Funkin' fans. So, by the way, Women, Men, and Relationships, that's what Doug's family and fan base is called, Funkin' fans. Okay, so we're going to talk about the pet rock to start. We're going to ease into the depth of this show.
Well, hold on. Let's talk about why, you can't jump in so quick. How about a little foreplay before fucking? Isn't that possible? I mean, you just jumped right into the first topic. Strick and I usually take like a good 20 minutes. We're not even on to any topics, and we get to Thursday already.
You know what I really appreciated about last Thursday's episode on The Nice Guys is that you said at the end of the show, Funkin' fans, if you'd like to actually hear a co-host that actually listens to the other co-hosts, you can check out Women, Men, and Relationships. So I love you, Strick, but I'm not going to be typing nor doing anything else except literally talking to you right now.
Strick, I feel like you've been just dissed. I can't wait to have you back next Tuesday.
Really? So he cannot pay attention to you?
Hey, listen, why should my podcast co-host be any different than the relationships previous to you in my life?
Aw, Doug.
I know. That's why I have found a new love. I finally found a love of a lifetime. Is that Firehouse? Wait, is it Firehouse? Who sings that?
I don't know. You're the DJ.
See, Strickland would know that.
I know.
Would know that. Strickland, I miss you.
Already? Really? We are, 5 minutes into the show, and you're already saying you want me out of here and you want Strickland back?
Yes.
Women, Men, and Relationships, there will be no more co-hosting. On
I want to be co-host of there, too. So if you're tuning into this for the first time, you are in the right spot. If you're listening to Women, Men, and Relationships, yes, you're in the right spot. If you're listening to The Nice Guys on Business, yes, you're in the right spot. We found that we were in a little bit of a challenging spot coming up this week because Strickland is, as I said, making his way to Austin, Texas, where he is relocating from Maryland. And we just did not have the bandwidth to record our 2 episodes of The Nice Guys. So JJ and I, while we were driving on Pacific Coast Highway just a couple of days ago, thought, hey, this would be a really cool opportunity to kind of share both our shows together. So if you're typically a Women, Men, and Relationships listener, you will hear a little bit more antics, let's call it. We call it on The Nice Guys, we call it fuckery. That's the Tuesday and Thursday shows. If you're listening from The Nice Guys on Business, you're probably going to hear a little bit more, I don't know, relationship talk, sensitivity.
Yes, if you're listening from Women, Men, and Relationships, if you're listening from Nice Guys, you're going to hear a little more depth. But you guys know me by now, and that's, of course, my thing. So you'll forgive me if it bores the shit out of you, and I'll hear from you on 4242 DJ Doug. So it's all good.
All right. So now that we've kind of set the stage, why JJ is here and why I am here. Well, I'm usually here on
Tuesdays and Thursdays.
on women, men, and relationships. Let's just
You're
forget.
here
let's
once
forget-
a week.
Okay, here's what we're gonna do. Let's and tell me if this is okay. Can we just forget what shows?
Yes.
Okay, good. So we're not worried about the shows. We're not doing any exposition. We're not going to explain anything. If you want to find out more about either Women, Men, and Relationships podcast or the Nice Guys on Business podcast, if you're not a listener to either one of those shows, then why the fuck are you listening right now? No. So if you're not a listener, tune into those shows. They're available wherever you get your podcasts. So check those shows out. Okay.
Can we talk about The Rock now?
Yeah, let's talk about The Rock. What rock are we talking about?
So we're on our way to acupuncture earlier this week.
Yeah.
And
Which, by the way, very California of me. Thank you. Thank you very hard.
you know what I did like about last Thursday's episode for the Nice Guys is when you said
That was short.
no, you know, Jared had called and said that, you know, Doug, what's California doing to you? And Strickland said, I was actually surprised that you hadn't had a pedicure before. So it wasn't
True.
California. It's just Doug. And actually, most guys, really, if you haven't had a pedicure, you guys should do it.
I don't know. The whole pedicure thing. I like the manicure better than the pedicure. I wasn't like, I was watching what they were doing to your feet, and it was like, I was feeling like they were paying more attention to you than me. And I'm not the typical like client that walks in there. You'd figure they'd want to go above and beyond to make sure that me, the male part of the species, wants to come back to get their toes done. But they just did like a regular thing. There was no like big massage or any. I wanted a little bit more in depth. I was looking for a happy ending or something. Nothing at all.
Wow.
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing. Not even like a little bit of not even like light petting or anything going on.
All right, I'm changing the channel. We're going to The Rock, okay? Pedicures aside, that's a different show. You put that on your topic list for Nice Guys. So we're going to acupuncture, and we're talking about a book that we're reading for a client that we're going to review with them.
Love it.
And somehow, what did you say? You said something about it's like a pet rock. And I looked at him and said, what do you mean, pet rock? So, yeah.
What were we comparing the pet rock to, though? I don't remember. Do you?
No.
Yeah, we were comparing it to like something that was significant. See, you can't set this whole thing up and not remember what we were comparing the pet rock to, except for the fact that a pet rock actually. What was the reason?
I think the whole point of the conversation was about you make it whatever you make it mean. I think I paused you because I said let's talk about it on the show. Let's not talk about it now because what do you mean you haven't heard of a pet rock? Because when you said it was something about who moved my cheese. That was what it was connected to, even though you hadn't read it again yet, but you were setting it up, and I thought, and I'd never heard. Then you mentioned about the chia pet, something about a pet rock and a chia pet, but
we were talking about energy. We were talking about. Hold on a second. We were talking about quantum physics. I mean, quantum healing.
Were we?
Yes, I remember now. We were talking about quantum healing and the belief that the energy that's being created in quantum healing, that somebody could create an environment where you're healing and you're not actually even being involved, that they're creating energy as a healer through quantum healing. And I said, yeah, it's kind of like the pet rock. And you're like, what do you mean it's like the pet rock? And I'm like, well, if you believe in quantum healing, the energy that somebody else is creating has the ability to heal you, then why can't the fucking pet rock heal you then? If you believe it, then it should be so. That's what we were talking about.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
And I disagree with you. I think that if you believe that quantum healing is a thing, if you believe that somebody actually has the ability through positive frequency, through a different frequency and positive vibration,
but
that they have
I can
the ability.
prove it.
I'm not saying that you can't prove it. I'm not saying that quantum healing doesn't work. I'm saying that pet rocks work just as well as quantum healing.
No, they don't.
Why not?
A pet rock. Okay, so my last and we're going to talk about quantum healing on a different show in more depth on my channels. We're not doing that here. But I had my last quantum healing session earlier this week, and I had a conversation with a woman before she did it, and I'm not anywhere near her. I've never met her. It's something done remotely, but it is healing, and it's done by frequency. And this is where the scientific part of it is. I can prove to you frequency and vibration. It's everywhere, and we're all energy. And she had asked me a bunch of questions about, let's say, emotional stuff, and she asked me about depression, and I answered all these different questions on an email, and we did talk in person, and then I sent it off to her, and at the same time I had been having like some back issues where I needed an adjustment. And because when I know my back is out or my hips are out, I go in and I get an adjustment and then I'm good to go. And some of it's because of travel or sleeping or having 3 cats on my pelvis in the middle of the night.
Why you have 3 pussies on your pelvis?
Anyway, so I
Wait,
had,
actually, that would be 4 on your pelvis.
yeah.
Yeah, I got you.
Yeah.
Got it.
Wow, this is so X-rated for women men relationships.
Well, because
It's
we
okay.
have 3. We have Luna, we have Domino, and we have Sugar.
And then there's mine.
And there's yours.
Okay, great.
Exactly. So
So-
in case you missed that, that's where the 4th one came into play.
The length it takes to finish the story on the show. So I had this conversation with this woman. I left and we were done. And then she was going to do the session the next morning. And I then thought, my back kind of hurts and I haven't been able to get into the chiropractor, but I will. I had an appointment set up for Friday. And I was like, okay, it's fine. I'll deal with that myself. It's just structural. But then I thought of, in terms of like emotionally, I actually thought, oh my God, you know what? I am depressed. Like I have depression thoughts about being mad at my parents or my mom, especially, but like right now. And that's not normal for me. It's new in like the last, 6 months to a year. But I thought about that and I hadn't shared that. So wouldn't you know, the next day after my session, what was in the report was spinal misalignment and upset at your parents. Now I didn't tell her that. The pet rock is not going to tell me I had a misalignment in my spine and that I was upset with my parents.
The pet rock will tell you whatever you think the pet rock should be telling you. So when you listen back to the pet rock is giving you the pet rock is just a reflection on exactly who you are. Quantum physics, or quantum healing. She is just feeding back to you as the mirror is through. You're just taking the middleman out. In quantum healing, you have the healer. In the pet rock instance, the mirror is the rock. Why can't a pet rock be just as good at creating? If you have a rock that is it has a high vibration, and they're very positive rock. I mean, you don't want a depressed rock. So if you had a positive rock, why couldn't that create the healing for you, just like somebody that's a quantum healer?
Because I'm so baffled by this conversation, the pet rock, because that's like saying that I, like what I do for a living is not of value to help people bring out an awareness that they didn't already have. A pet rock, yes, can be a reflection of my own thoughts.
Okay, so that
and feelings.
Maybe that is the limitation of the pet rock then. Maybe the pet rock can only provide you a reflection of your current thoughts and give you the ability to self-reflect. And to a degree, isn't that really what healing is all about? Heal oneself?
Healing is also about getting out of the comfort zone and having sometimes a different point of view to see what you can't see. That's the point of working with a coach or a therapist or a trainer or a healer, because they're able to see things you can't currently see so that you can address them. Pet rock isn't going to do that, because if you're only reflecting back what you're able to receive, you're going to only get back what you're able to receive.
So the next thing you're going to tell me is that it won't work with a chia pet either. Is that right? Is that what you're going to say?
What won't work? Healing? Can I heal with a chia pet? I agree with you that if I believe a chia pet is going to heal me, and first we got to make this about relationships at some point. If a chia pet, if I believe 100%, yes, I believe that you're going to manifest whatever you believe. End of story. If you believe a pet rock's going to heal you, you believe, and you truly, truly, in the soul, in the center of every cell of your being, believe that a pet rock will heal you, it probably will. Now, does that mean the pet? I mean, it might. It might be the mirror and the guide for your own intuition.
That's all I'm looking for. I'm just looking for enough of an inkling of belief here that maybe the pet rock could do what we need it to do.
But why would I even think about doing a pet rock when I have the healers? If anyone's hearing, we have a kitten. She is now 9 weeks old. Her name is Sugar. She's little and she has needs. So she's always hungry, or she wants attention, or she needs to go to the bathroom and figure out where the bathroom is. So if there's some meowing, it's from her. All right, let's bring the pet rock back into relationships and communication. So here's a situation where I had no fucking clue what you were talking about.
Why is that unusual for you?
That I had no idea what you're talking about?
Yeah, that sounds pretty usual.
No, I
Pretty
normally
typical.
know what you're talking. I mean, part of our relationship, I've said that I can finish your sentences. Like, I get you, I understand you. Here's a situation where I was like, I don't get you and understand you.
yeah.
Why are you talking about a pet rock?
The only reason I was talking about the pet rock at all was because I was trying to make the point that a quantum healer creates some level of energy to help you heal, no matter where they are in the world. And what if somebody was to put positive vibration, a positive frequency into a pet rock before they put it in the box and sent? Do pet rocks come in boxes?
I have no idea because up until this conversation, I don't even know. I've never had a pet rock. I guess I've heard of it, but the fact that we were even talking pet rock, I don't know.
Okay, I was just trying to make the point
Yep,
that it
yep,
doesn't
yep.
necessarily just have to be a person that can create positive energy. You could have that from a pet. If you could have it from a pet, like a cat, you could have healing from a
Okay.
okay.
Hold on.
And why not from a plant? And if
Okay.
why not from a plant? Why not from the earth? And if why not from the earth?
Okay,
why
yes,
not from a pet
all
rock?
of those things. Here's the. Okay, this conversation needs to cease in a minute. So here's how we're going to cap this off. First of all, the quantum healer has given me recommendations of supplements, of toxification, has been able to do an analysis of where I am on different levels versus toxicity versus emotional versus whatever, and we have then taken and done steps because of that analysis, which has led to healing. So the pet rock isn't going to give me that.
Okay, so let's just agree on this. The pet rock has limitations on what its healing powers are, but a pet rock could just as easily be a healer as a quantum healer is a healer.
Yeah, no one's paying a pet rock. No one's going to pay the pet rock $100 for an hour session. Sorry.
It's all relative. Why would you could go outside and pick up a rock and that would be your pet rock? Why would anybody
Why are
ever
we
go
having
into
a
the
conversation
store
about
and
something
buy
you've
a-
never done? This is okay. Here's
I had a pet rock.
no. I'm not talking about the pet rock. I'm talking about the. I have a strong opinion about
you have
something I've never tried before, even though it's clearly working for you. But I'm going to argue that it's not as effective, or it could be equally as effective as a fucking pet rock. Why are we doing this? We want to promote healing. We're not trying to get people to not do healing. So we're done with this conversation. We're moving on because I would like to talk about something about relationships.
I totally want Strickland back. Strickland.
Right, because he's just going to laugh. He's just going to laugh at anything you say.
Yeah.
And then he might disagree with you occasionally.
Or he might be laughing but not paying attention because he's typing.
Right. So let's talk about communication.
Oh, okay.
And something else that had come up recently with the cats, and this is more for the women, men, and relationship community because you may have had a little bit of a frustration with that pet rock conversation.
If you had a frustration with that one, you're going to have a frustration with this one and trying to understand the differences between men and women.
No, that is super clear and easy.
Oh, well, maybe to you it was. Apparently to me it was not at the time that it was happening.
Right. Well, I've, again, studied with some people who've studied the differences between men and women for 20 years and taken classes and read books. And some of it's, I've interviewed some people on the show about some of these differences. And it became clear to me based on a reaction that you had to me in my emotional state, how men and women do things differently, how we react. And there's a 3-part process. The 3 parts are, and I'm not saying this is any order of women or men as of right now, but there's a thinking, a feeling, and an acting. And generally, women lead with feeling first. And because of the feeling, it causes them to act, most likely, and then either think on the back end, or it's feeling, thinking, then acting. But mostly it's feeling and then acting. Men start with the thinking. So when a woman is having an emotion, this is not across the board, guys. This is not everybody. But when a woman is having a reactionary emotional situation and then wants to take action, and a man slows her down because he has to think about it first, I am sure that there are many people out there listening who have had this experience of frustration when either the man is frustrated that the woman is pressuring them to do something they haven't thought through, or a woman is frustrated that a man has not taken action more quickly because he has to think about what she's saying, even though she's clearly emotionally ready to take action. Okay, this happened with Sugar. We had to take her to the vet. It also happened when we were in Paso. We've told this story before, I think, when we went wine tasting. And because my habit is to always take food because of my dietary preferences. I take food that I'm good no matter where I go. And Doug had rented a Jaguar, and it was a convertible, and it had no trunk space.
So no cooler
So
was
there
coming with us. I didn't realize the whole setup, so that was where I was. I didn't know. I didn't realize what you needed the trunk space for food, for provisions. I didn't realize.
And there wasn't a back seat, really. So
No,
we have no space in this car, which was a fun, cool car. But then when we went wine tasting and we hit, I think, 3 wineries when we got to town, we decided to take a nap. We were a little tipsy. We want to take a nap and have some sex. And then we were going to get up and go to dinner. I was super excited about going to a nice dinner, like a sit-down. It was before he moved here. It was in May. It was a romantic trip. And we slept for 4 hours.
it was the longest fucking nap I've ever taken.
No, we slept for 6 hours.
Something like that. Yeah,
Somewhere between 4 and 6 hours.
Right.
And we get up, and it's now 10 o'clock in Paso.
Just about 10 o'clock. I think it's 9:45, and we ran down to the lobby, and we're like, oh, shit. They roll up the sidewalks here in Paso. Where can we eat now?
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, there's the Denny's. I'm like, oh, no. They got nothing to eat for JJ at the Denny's. This is going to suck.
Well, I got up, looked at the clock, freaked out. I was like, oh my God. Now, had we had my cooler of food, we would have
come between JJ and her food.
We would have been happy drinking another bottle of wine and having some snacks in the room.
Mm-hmm.
Would have been totally fine. But since I had nothing, and now I'm missing this nice romantic dinner that I wanted to have, I freaked out about the food. But as I'm freaking out and yelling for Doug to get moving, like hurry, hurry, hurry. I felt like the more I yelled at him, the slower he went. It was like slow motion. And I was like, why aren't you moving faster? We have to go. So here was now he did react and he didn't stop and talk to me about it. So that was good.
No, I completely shut down. I mean, I kept moving through the process of getting out of the hotel room, but it's like, well, what do you want me to do? I don't even any move I was going to make was not going to be the right move, I felt. So I'm like, I'm just going to follow instructions at this point. Break the glass, hit the red button quickly. Don't do it. So I'm like, holy shit, I don't know what to do. I very rarely am in this position where I don't know what to do. So in this particular case, I'm just like, okay, she's ordering me around. I'm just going to follow her orders, whatever she says. And the more she was ordering me around, I felt like the angrier she was getting with me. And I'm like, what did I do? We both slept late. This is not fucking my fault.
I wasn't blaming you.
I know you weren't, baby.
I was just freaking out about the possibility of not eating. So that was the fear. But here's a situation where I was in total reaction mode. So now we move to that Kitten is having formula because we're bottle feeding her. And I have to laugh because in the future, when or if we foster cats again, I'm going to research, as you all know, on women, men, and relationships. I have a nutrition background, and for those of nice guys, you may or may not remember that about me. But the Kitten formula all has cow milk in it. And I had to laugh because my cousin's a vet in Pennsylvania, or I think she lives in Pennsylvania still, and she doesn't do a lot of Eastern and holistic stuff, so I don't really tend to ask her a lot of questions. But I was in a panic, and my vet was busy. So I asked her about this constipation. I thought she was constipated. The cat was trying to go to the bathroom and nothing's coming out. And she said, well, cats shouldn't have cow milk. And I wanted to say, fucking people shouldn't have cow milk. Cow milk is meant for cows. So I know anyway, side tangent, but it's the reason why she got constipated. So now she's trying to go to the bathroom. She's going to every little corner, and she's trying to push, and nothing's coming out. She's in pain. She's meowing. We're in a situation here, and I don't know how to give her an enema myself, and I don't know for sure that this is the problem, but it's clear that she needs to go to the vet. So Doug wants to have this conversation with me about the options. So here's the case in which, as a woman...
I'm like, can we just outline the options before we... And here's what my thought was. We're going to go into the vet. The vet's going to give us some reason why we need to have this or that procedure done to the cat, which... I'm not saying that the cat should not have had a procedure done, but at the same time, it was we're just about to spend like $200 or $300 on this kitten that it's just give the kitten a little bit of room and chance to blow this pod that's in her belly right now. I know she will. And it's like, oh my God. Okay. Then I started going down this whole other thought that, well, wait, we shouldn't even really be having the kitten right now because we're fostering the cat, and we took the cat early from foster because we let the other cats go to a new home, and this cat would have gone to that home. So I'm thinking, let's call the foster kittens like the keeper. Maybe they have some solutions or a place that we can go. So I'm thinking all of these other thoughts, and she's like, I'm taking the cat to the vet, to the hospital.
So keep in mind, Doug's children have never broken a bone. He never went to an emergency room. He has never had a crisis situation with his own children. So this is basically almost a crisis situation because she won't stop trying to push, which, by the way, she gave herself a hernia.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yep.
So here he is, in my opinion, and this is a very clear like women versus men communication issue where he wants to think about it before taking action or figuring out how to feel about it. And I'm clearly in full-on feeling really fucking frustrated because I'm like, the cat needs to poop now. And we don't have time because she's going to get worse and we're not going to sleep. Especially, you want to complain about not like feeling crowded. You wouldn't have slept all night long because she would have meowed and been upset. And that was torture. So anyway, we took her to the vet and all is well now. But, all is mostly well. I mean, she's had a hernia, but it'll when she gets fixed later, it'll get fixed. But it brought up the idea of communication with women and men. And there are so many reasons why I think men and women miscommunicate and get angry unnecessarily at each other because we actually have different methods in which we communicate. And most people don't know that. So, for instance, most women treat men like hairy women. Most women expect men to think like they do, and men, by the way, are single focused. So you guys mostly, not that you can't multitask. I'm sure some of you are great at it, but mostly men are single focused. You were designed as a caveman to hunt the deer. And we actually did talk about this on Nice Guys once. So, so your chemistry is set up to be single focused until the project is done. And in the case of communication, the thinking part was where you were focused, right? And for women have diffused awareness. This is why we can find our keys faster sometimes or pick berries because we can look at a whole field of berries and we don't have to look under every leaf. It's about a little bit of intuition, but it's also just that, again, diffused awareness. That is a fact. And there's hormonal things and chemical things that we each have that make us better at different things. So, but women, without knowing that, without remembering that your man is not you, and your man doesn't look at the world like you do, and there are several layers to why, and your man doesn't process information, nor does he communicate the way that you want him to or think he should.
Okay, so how do you get, again, you know me, I'm always trying to make my point and get the lesson here. So how do you get a guy who is thinking the way that I am, and can we just have a conversation about this, to... You can't, by asking me to just follow your instinct is going against my instinct. To ask you to follow my instinct of thinking and talking about this rather than just feeling through the moment and taking action is against your structure. So where do you meet there? How do you compromise? What do you do in this particular case so that both parties feel heard, communicated with, and feel good about what's about to happen? Because I'll tell you, as that was happening, I wasn't feeling good about what was happening.
I wasn't either because you were delaying her getting better.
But we weren't. But it was like, and I'm not saying that you win, I lose, because it's not about that. We have a kitten, and that was the important thing that she gets relief. But it was you won because you wouldn't allow me to have the conversation with you.
Okay, let's make it about a person. Let's say you're having a heart attack. Should I stop and have a conversation with you about your heart attack before deciding if I should call 911?
No, you call 911 and they take over from there.
Okay, it's the same situation here. The difference is she can't talk to us. So you're making decisions based on what you think is going on and the fears that you have about how much either this is going to cost or whatever is going on inside your mind. But if this was a case of a person having a heart attack in the moment, which was the same exact thing.
It's not the same
It
thing.
is exactly the same thing.
No, it's not, because number one, you don't know well, now that I know how you communicate with these cats, I think you probably did know the situation with the cat. So I'm going to tend to agree with you here, but I'm going to follow this through for just a moment. It's not the same severity as a heart attack. It's a crap that's stuck in the cat's gut.
But she could die of toxicity if she doesn't get it out of her.
Yeah, but she had just relieved herself just shortly before, like that earlier that day. So I wasn't worried that the cat was so backed up. I was thinking that the cat is uncomfortable and we probably need to get some level of relief for the cat. If I felt like we had enough time to. It wasn't like she was bleeding from an orifice and needed to be rushed to the hospital.
But she could have internally, because she was pushing so hard. That was the point of the concern.
Okay.
So the level of intensity, the level of severity was, I think, misinterpreted, which is why you thought we had time to have a conversation about it. Now, the hernia, we had time to have a conversation about it. It was the doctor that said you need to bring her in. But I was like, are you sure this doesn't look like it looks like it's okay. It doesn't seem to bother her. And for me, I was like, do I have to take her in right now? Can we wait till Friday until you're in the office? And she said, no, bring her in now, which is why I asked you to go. But that was because the vet suggested it. Right. So I think it's about that judgment. So let's bring it back to, like, you asked about how do you relieve this, or how do you make this better, or how do you fix this? How you start to fix the understanding and communication between men and women. There are multiple levels, and we've talked about some of them on our show in terms of love languages and astrology and things like that. But when it comes to just remember your biology, we're different. We're built differently. We have different parts. We have different hormones for a reason. Therefore, we think differently. So women, your men do not think like you. They do not, they're not going to plan ahead. They're not going to know what you're thinking or feeling. They're not going to be able to read your mind. They're not going to be able to do something that you haven't told them what to do. And you're going to expect them to. You're going to expect them like women. Oh, here's another fun thing. When women, although you and Strick are different about this, but the average guy does not like to be interrupted. The average guy wants to tell the story and get to the end and not be interrupted because he's focused, remember, single focused, and feels disrespected when a woman interrupts him or when anybody interrupts him, right? If you watch men speak, one talks until they're done, and then the other one talks until they're done. And with women, we interrupt each other all the time. And there's a reason for that. Women interrupt each other because we want to feel connected to each other and involved. Like if a woman is telling me a story or if I'm telling her a story and she doesn't say anything or make a sound or agree or laugh or do something, I think she's not paying attention to me.
It's like everything is like the fucking View. It's like, I don't know, I've watched that show and I'm like, oh my God, there's like 5 or 6 women all talking at the same time. It drives me fucking nuts. I'm like, I can't pay attention to the show because there's too many people talking.
Right. So to understand that, for both men and women, if you're a man and you seem to get frustrated a lot from your wife or girlfriend or woman or sister or mother who constantly interrupts you, that's why. Is because you lose your train of thought, and it's very frustrating to get back on because now they're taking you down a different tangent. And maybe prior to this, you didn't understand why you get so frustrated, and now you can clearly communicate to your woman, to your whoever, and say, you know what, I really need to finish my story. Would you mind allowing me, not interrupting me, allow me to finish and get to the end, and when I'm done, I will be quiet, and then you can talk. And you can phrase that in however way you want to, but the communication of what your needs are. So Doug was doing the dishes today. We had a party last night. And one of the other ways I mentioned that are different between men and women about storytelling. See, women are about the story and can take another woman on a story for as long as she's willing to be on the journey, go twists and turns. And men, you're listening for the point. You're from the beginning listening for what is the point of this? Where is this going?
I thought you were going to say that I was doing the dishes wrong. I wasn't sure where you were heading.
No.
Heading there because I leave the clean stuff on the left side. I know you don't like that. I know you don't like
I'm going to put another sign up.
No more signs.
Okay.
Oh my God, no more signs. We've got to talk about that on Thursday's episode.
Fine. So there, point by point, there are things to do. So women, and men, women want to tell you a story. So how you can help the situation? A man could say, before you continue, can you just tell me, am I supposed to be remembering something? Are we going somewhere? Or are you just telling me a story? and the woman would say, "Oh, I'm just going to tell you the story," and then you can go, "Okay, I can relax now. I'm not trying to listen for a point."
Yeah. That's a great idea. But how do I know when the story starts? Because sometimes you just start rambling, and I don't know when.
Pretty much at the beginning, like right there, you'd say, "Okay, hold on. Before you start, is this a story that has a point? Like, is there a point that I'm going to need to remember or do something?"
Right.
Am I going to have to remember something?
I say that about my schedule all the time. Wait, are you saying this because I'm supposed to write something down on my schedule, or am I just supposed to listen? I do say that.
And women, how you can help them relax. A man will listen to your story before you start telling the story, tell him in the beginning, "Hey, I don't need you to remember anything or do anything.
I love
I'm
this.
going to tell you a story."
I love this. It's like story time at the Flazane's house. I love this. This is a great plan.
And then that way they're not, because they're like intently listening for what they need to do about it.
Okay, so when you start telling a story, I'm hoping that you'll remember. But if you don't, I am going to ask you that. So for the next couple of months, it might be a little challenging for me. I may interrupt you a lot and say, "Okay, oops, sorry, Kitty. Is this a story that I'm supposed to be?"
It's fine.
Okay, now what are my questions again? Give me my questions I'm supposed to ask. Am I supposed to be listening for a point, or am I just listening to go on the journey with you?
Do I need to remember anything or do anything?
Oh, this is perfect. I love it. Ask me. I'm going to wear a pin. It's going to say, "Are you telling me a story? Are you telling me this for a reason?"
So I bring this up, and we're going to be wrapping up the show. The reason why I wanted to bring it up, honestly, because part of this is going on my show, and I want to help. I want to help improve communication between men and women. And
yes, and on our show, The Nice Guys on Business, we don't give a fuck about that.
No, because you're two men rambling on and interrupting each other. No, you're not interrupting each other too much. You interrupt Strickland probably more than he interrupts you.
I do.
Yeah,
but I'm guilty.
Yeah, you're more of the woman in that.
I was going to say, who's got more of the? I was going to ask you that question just now. Who's got more of the feminine energy in our co-hosting?
Mostly you,
Yeah,
but
thanks.
Yeah. So hopefully this is helpful for Nice Guy community, women in a relationship community. This is part of the bridging that gap, is to, even if you're on, like Doug and I have the same moon sign, and we think alike. Sometimes we finish each other's sentences. He reads my mind, I read his mind. There's a lot of synergy in our communication, but we still are a woman and a man. We still talk differently, listen differently, think differently, act differently. And so, that's a great place for us to start, but there's still some times where the communication breaks down.
Hey, if you're reading my mind right now, when's the next time I want to have sex with you?
After we're done recording.
You're perfect. You're good.
Okay.
She's right.
In fact, I was going to talk about sex. So one more.
Now or Thursday?
No. Oh, let's seed it for Thursday.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's talk about sex on Thursday.
All right, I got it.
This will be good. All right, so we're going to wrap up the episode here. Strickland, we sorely miss you. Sorely miss you.
Well, I don't miss him. He's not on my show. I think you miss him.
I miss you,
I love you, Strickland, but I'm doing my own show.
I do. By the time we listen to this next episode on Thursday, Strickland will have taken delivery of his brand new Tesla Model 3. And if for some reason he doesn't, in my driveway will be the Tesla Model 3. I think I've actually bought a portion of that car with Strickland. I think we may go in on a halvesies or something. No, probably not. Anyway, we'll talk about that on another show. Turo is an excellent app. I'm about to do some fun stuff with Turo. If anybody in my community or in the women, men, and relationship community actually has access to a 1964 Ford Mustang convertible, I'm in the market. I think that will be my next purchase. I'm not sure if I'm going to keep the motorcycle, sell the motor. I don't really know yet, but we'll talk about that on Thursday.
And let me do a shout out too while you're asking for it. If there's anyone else who's out there who wants to get their products or services out in front of my community, which is much bigger than women, men, and relationships. It's Spirit, Purpose, and Energy, and Fit to Love, and Nutrition Alternative Medicine. I do have 2 spots open for sponsorship for the January Releasing What Weighs You Down event. So if anyone's interested in sponsorship at the event or on the show, reach out to me.
Circle time.
Circle time. All right, everybody.
January.
Well, for those of you that listen to Women, Men, and Relationships, we'll see you back here next week.
For those that listen to the Nice Guys on Business podcast, we will see you on Thursday. Okay, Steve O'Brien, take us out of here.